The rain had no stop since morning. It poured down the city like a curse, washing the cities that had witnessed too many sins. Somewhere behind the grey clouds and the thunder, the world still moved on. But for you, time has stopped. You sat in your room, your trembling hands clutching the edge of your desk as you listened to the sound of heavy footsteps echoing outside the door. The door opened, and your father entered with a look that shattered your heart. When he said softly, now meeting your eyes, the deal is done. Your throat tightened. What deal? He sighed, his voice breaking. The debt, our company. I had noticed you are marrying Jeon Jungkook. The name itself felt like a storm. Jun Jungkook, the man whose name made people bow or disappear. A mafia boss who rules Seoul's underworld with a cold smile and black eyes that saw through souls. You shook your head, tears forming. Appa, you can't do this. I'm not. It's the only way to save us, he whispered. Please, fine, just survive. And then the door opened again. He stood there tall, dressed in a black suit that felt like sin, his dark hair slightly wet from the rain. His gaze landed on you, sharp and unreadable. Miss Fan, Jungkook said coolly, I believe congratulations are in order. Your heart raced, his voice was deep, smooth, and terrifyingly calm. The ceremony was small, private, and cold. No flowers, no music, just signature and silent witness. Who knew better than to speak? You stood beside Jungkook, your hand trembling as he slid the diamond ring onto your finger. He slid the diamond ring onto your finger. His touch was gentle, but his eyes, those dark, soulless eyes, didn't soften. Smile, he murmured quietly enough that only you could hear. He forced a smile even though your world was collapsing when the ceremony ended. He led you to his car, a black Rolls Royce, and the ride to his mansion was silent except for the rain. You looked out the window, wishing this was all a nightmare, but it was not. When you arrived, the mansion loomed like a castle built of shadows. Guards stood at every corner, and the air smelled of power and danger. The gestured toward the grand hallway. This will be your home now. Don't wander without permission, you flinched. Am I your wife or your prisoner? His gaze flickered to you, and for a second something unreadable passed over his face. Both, he said simply before walking away. That night you cried silently in your room, wondering how your life had turned into a bargain. Days turned into weeks. You barely saw him, only at breakfast or dinner, where silence hung heavier than Chandler's. He was always surrounded by men in black. Always on the phone, always calculating something, yet even in that ruthless world, Jago carried a strange calmness. One evening you entered the garden, your only peaceful escape, and found him there smoking under the moonlight. His sleeves were rolled up, revealing tattoos curling around his wrist like serpents. You hesitated, but he spoke first. You hate me, don't you? You blinked. I don't even know you, he smiled faintly. That's worse. You looked away. You took away my freedom, he exhaled slowly. Freedom is a luxury in my world, Ryan. I can't even afford it myself. For a moment you saw it, the loneliness in his eye, but it vanished as soon as he looked back at you. Go inside, he said quietly. It's cold. You wanted to argue, but something in his tone, not anger, no command, just quiet concern, made you obey. That night, for the first time, you wonder what kind of life you had lived to become so cold. The next morning, you were having breakfast when gunshots echoed from outside. You froze, your heart racing. Jangu rushed in, gun in hand, his man following. Stay here, he ordered, but you grabbed his arm instinctively. Be careful, he pushed, just a habit. Then noted always. Hours later, when the fly was over, you found him sitting in his office, blood staining his shirt sleeve without thinking. You ran to him. You are hurt. He asked softly, because you are human, you replied, even if you pretend not to be. He stared at you, really stared, and for the first time his expression softened. While he whispered, you don't belong in my world, he smiled sadly. Maybe not, but I'm already here. From that day, something began to change. He started joining you for meals. Sometimes he asked about your favorite books or what you like to paint. You caught him watching you quietly, his eyes no longer cold but searching, like he was trying to understand what warmth felt like. But peace never lasted in Jungkook's world. One night his rival, a ruthless gang leader named Minho, attacked his territory. Jungkook left immediately, refusing to let you follow. Hours passed, you waited, pacing, praying when the door finally burst open. Two of Jungkook's men carried him in, wounded, blood staining his shirt. Jungkook, you cried, running to him. He was conscious, barely. Don't cry, princess, he muttered weakly. I told you I would come back. You stayed by his side all night, tending to him, holding his hand when he groaned in pain. In the dim light, you whisper, you are not alone anymore. When he finally opened his eyes again, he found you asleep beside him, your head resting on his arm. Something inside him broke. The wall he would spend years building from then Jago stopped hiding behind silence. Weeks later, you found him in the garden again, this time with no cigarette, no guards, just him waiting. When you approached, he turned his voice low and rough. Do you ever regret it? Marrying me? You hesitated at first, yes, but no. You smiled faintly. You have changed. He chuckled. You changed me. You blushed. I just reminded you that you have a heart. He took a step closer. Vine, I don't deserve you. You were forced into this life because of me. You shook your head. Maybe fate knew what it was doing. He reached out, brushing a strand of hair from your face. I told myself I would never love anyone. That love is weakness. But when you cried, when you laughed, when you looked at me like I was not a monster. He swallowed hard. You made me want to be human again. Your eyes filled with tears. Then be human, Jungkook, with me. And for the first time, he kissed you gently, hesitantly, like he was touching something sacred. It was not a fairy kiss of lust, it was warmth, healing, and the promise. A few weeks later, Jung announced he was stepping down as he head of his organization. His men protested, but he didn't waver. I have spent my life ruling shadows. He said, it's time I learned how to live in the light. You couldn't believe it, are you sure? He smiled. I have killed for power, bled for money, and lost myself. But for you, I want peace. Together, you left the mansion and moved to a quiet countryside villa far from the city stores. Sometimes he still woke up from nightmares, his past clawing at him, but you were always there holding him, whispering, you are safe now. And every time he would look at you like you were the only real thing in this world. A year later, the same day returned, but this time it was not gloomy, it was soft, cleansing, peaceful. You stood by the window holding a cup of coffee as a hook, wrapped his arm around you from behind. Still like the rain, he murmured against your neck. You smiled. It reminds me of the day I met you. He chuckled. When you hated me? When I thought I did, you teased. Now I know better. He kissed your forehead. I never believed in happy endings, man, but with you, I think I found one. You turned, meeting his case. Not an ending, Jago, just a new beginning. And outside, as the rain washed the last traces of darkness away, you both stood there. Once strangers bound by force, now soulmates bound by love. The end.